So I came out with something this week.
It's fun to go after you, Cowherd.
Well, I had
You're an easy target.
I am a believer that generally, if you look at sports, we're all caught up in parity. And the big thing now is in the NBA. Well, it's just, only so many teams can win it. And my argument is, if you have 6 or 7 teams at the top, that's all college football has. College football this year, Alabama can win.
Right.
Clemson can win. Washington can win.
The same 5 teams every year.
I think Wisconsin's really good. Georgia. You got about 6 teams in college football. If you look at the NFL, in the NBA, by the way, Golden State can win. I have Boston beating them next year. We know Toronto will be better with Kawhi. Philly's good. Lakers good.
Right.
Okay, so these are my 7 teams I believe can win the Super Bowl. And by the way, in all of them except New England, my fringe team was New England. Okay.
Let's start here. When did you compile this list? Because there is such a glaring error.
Which one?
A massive error on this list. Where are the Minnesota Vikings? You know they have the second best odds to win the Super Bowl according to Vegas?
Yeah.
10-1.
Yeah.
They're not even on your list?
Well, no. Minnesota was my last team.
Okay.
And the reason being is, when is the last team that got a new quarterback and a new offensive coordinator and won a Super Bowl? It doesn't happen.
Well, new quarterback, we could go Drew Brees in when he made the move to New Orleans, eventually won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right?
but what'd you say? It wasn't year one.
Not in year one. And this guy, Peyton Manning, Denver, he did
But
okay.
he didn't win in year one.
Not in year one.
So now people forget this. Kyle Shanahan popped in Atlanta year 2. People forget this. It takes a coordinator and a quarterback 2 years to pop.
It's funny you mentioned the coordinator. He actually went to college where I went to. I covered him. We stayed friends. He knows football, okay? He was just in Philadelphia last year with Foles, with Wentz. I trust him a lot, okay? Now, my big thing with missing on the Vikings is this is a team who had as good a defense in net yards per play as the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is an awesome defense, Colin. Seriously, the Vikings are ready to go in, stop people, and then they finally have a quarterback who can take them over the hump. Think about that NFC Championship game when they lost to the Eagles. What was the reason? It's Case Keenum. He was bad. He lost the game for them in the first quarter with that tipped interception. And I look at Kirk Cousins coming in there. Colin, to me, he's a top 12 quarterback in the NFL.
No.
Remember, the Washington offensive line was a train wreck, one of the least healthy lines in the league. Now you add Dalvin Cook, who you loved in college.
Yes.
Looked very good running back last year until he got injured. Great receivers, maybe one of the best combos in the league. And the defense is just nasty. I think we went over this in the offseason. The Vikings may have, with the Eagles, the best roster in the NFL. Young, talented.
I think
this is a loaded team.
the Rams and the Eagles and the Chargers, I know those are 2 LA teams, have great rosters. Yeah. I think the Giants roster is underrated. Houston has a good roster. I go back to this. New coordinator, new coach. To me, it's going to take a year.
If you don't like my Vikings, let me get 3 more for you that I think you missed. Right. Okay, so you know the NFL, like you said earlier, unlike the NBA, teams can go from the middle or the bottom to the top.
Yes.
Eagles last year.
Yes.
Nobody had them go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay, 2 years ago, Falcons weren't ready to go to the Super Bowl. They get there. The Houston Texans, I'm going to just throw that out there for you. Very good defense. Awesome quarterback who lit the league up. He was poised, Deshaun Watson, to set every single rookie quarterback record that existed. Like all Peyton's records are going down after just 6 games. So I love the Houston Texans as a live dog in the AFC, which is weak.
Okay, the AFC is weaker, but I will say this. I have a belief you cannot win a World Series with a bad bullpen. Because once you get to the playoffs, 7th inning on is situational. Right. You're facing the best bullpens, best hitters. You can't find a bad bullpen that's won a World Series in 20 years. You cannot win a Super Bowl similarly with a bad offensive line.
Yes.
Houston's O-line is awful.
Okay. So you want a good offensive line?
Yes.
All right. Your favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Colin, I heard you out driving in here. I heard you prattling on about the receivers stink and who's going to throw the ball. Listen, 2 years ago, 13-3. All they did was run the football. Time of possession, they ate the clock, and the defense didn't have to be on the field long. Why can't they do that again? Just riddle me this. Why can't they just feed Zeke, keep the ball away from the opponent, and win games in like a 17-14, 17-13 manner? Why can't that happen for Dallas?
I don't think that's inconceivable. I did not have them. I said, let's show my Super Bowl contenders again. The 6 I feel good about are Pittsburgh, Philly, Green Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans, Rams. I put the Patriots in for one reason. The division's god-awful.
Yes,
they have
true.
a chance to go 6-0, which means bye and 2 home games. Now, I don't think they'll do that because I think they'll be choppy all year. They're rebuilding the O-line. The Vikings was the first team out for me.
But you have almost all first-place teams there, Colin. They have brutal schedules. Look at Dallas' schedule.
Okay, but here's the problem. With Philadelphia, the Giants, and Alex Smith, they're not going to be a 13-3 team. They're not getting a bye. They're not getting home field. They're going to have to go to either an Atlanta, a Green Bay,
that can be a
Minnesota, a New Orleans. I think Dallas could, even if Dallas won the division, I am more of a 9-7. Everybody beats up on everybody. But that's road playoff games, back-to-back weeks in New Orleans, Minnesota. I don't think they can do that.
You're also a chemistry guy. I believe Des Bryant, similarly to Carmelo Anthony in OKC, is addition by subtraction.
I agree with that.
You get Carmelo out of that locker room, I really think OKC is going to do better this year.
I actually agree.
Des Bryant, nightmare, Colin. Come on, he's yelling at the quarterback, ranting at the head coach. That's one of the most underplayed stories in the division. Des Bryant is addition by subtraction for the Cowboys.
All right, what's your other team? So
right.
I
this
told you.
Last one is risky because I know you hate their quarterback, and they were first-place team last year, but the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's stop. Wait, let me get this out. The Jaguars led the Patriots in Foxborough by 10 with 8 minutes left in the AFC title game. They led by 10. They dominated that game.
Yeah.
This is a team that went into Pittsburgh, just embarrassed Mike Tomlin, put him on the hot seat, okay? And then they go to New England and had that game won. This is a team, and again, I'm a firm believer, run the football. Keep it away from the opponent, the good quarterbacks in the AFC with like Roethlisberger and Brady. And then that Jacksonville defense, they have the best pair of cornerbacks in the league. On the big lead this week, I ranked the best cornerbacks in the NFL. They have 2 of the top 5.
Yeah.
You can't throw the ball against them.
Here's my knock. With all those things said, the AFC was weaker last year. They didn't face Deshaun Watson or Andrew Luck, and they lost both games to Tennessee. It is reasonable to assume that in their division, they have easily the worst quarterback. I can never pick a team to go to a Super Bowl. Okay, so let's
this is all fair.
In review, let's be honest. Okay, so let's go to the 4 teams you said should crack my top 7. I want to review it, crystallize it, distill it for the audience. Minnesota, I like a lot. That's your best argument. New coordinator, new quarterback. I don't think that hits year 1. Your next argument was Texans. I don't think a bad O-line can win the Super Bowl. Dallas, I think they're going to get chewed up in that division. Even if they won it, it'll be...
Redskins?
Philadelphia on the road. Philadelphia, New York. So what's going to happen if they win it? They're going to have to. They're not going to get a bye. They're going to go road New Orleans, road Green Bay. I don't like it. And then your last team, Jacksonville, the AFC was a mess last year. I mean, who was the third best team? Kansas City, Alex Smith. We don't trust them in the playoffs. Chargers were the hottest team late, and they didn't get in and do anything. So to me, Jacksonville to me is, if you have the 4th best quarterback in a division, I can't pick you to be a 12, 11 win team, get a home bye, home games. I like teams, by the way, that get home games in the playoffs. I like teams that get a bye in the playoffs. That means something to me.
So you're out on the Cowboys despite the fact that they have the best offensive line. Because and this is what I didn't like about your argument. You'll say I can't pick a team without an offensive line. Well, the Cowboys have a great offensive line.
So let's look at let's go back to my teams. Rams. Great coach, good offensive line. Saints, great coach, great quarterback.
Let's stop on Rams. They went to the playoffs last year, right? Rookie head coach and Jared Goff, second-year quarterback. Isn't that similar to one of the teams I mentioned? I mean, Deshaun Watson, DeFilippo.
Time out. They couldn't win a playoff game. So you just...
Hey, blame the special teams. I think they fumbled 2 punts in the first half.
And that's why they couldn't win a playoff team. So Rams, good coach, good quarterback, good O-line. Saints, good coach, good quarterback, great offensive line. Atlanta. All these teams except New England, and I even think Green Bay does a great job drafting and developing young offensive linemen. Every one of these teams except New England has a very good offensive line and a very good quarterback. The only exception is New England, and I do give them the benefit of the doubt because their division is awful. Yeah. They're going to go 5-1 and 6-0, and they're going to get a bye and have potentially 2 home games. And it's Foxborough in January. It's brutal.
Can I turn back the clock on the Patriots for 1 second, Colin?
Sure.
Okay. Last year, I know everybody said, they're going to Super Bowl, all this. You remember that game in Pittsburgh, okay? If the NFL didn't butcher that call, they lose that game. Don't get home field advantage. They ain't going to the Super Bowl, okay? Then in against Jacksonville, they're trailing by 10 with 8 minutes left, have a lucky comeback against, a young quarterback. And in the Super Bowl, they gave up 600 yards of offense to Nick Foles.
I said.
Bill Belichick, the genius. So I know everybody loves the Patriots, and yes, the division stinks. Keep an eye on my Jets, just for the record. I don't think it's going to be as easy in the AFC this year for Tom Brady. I mean, I know we keep saying that the end is near, but if you look at those 3 games, Steelers, Jaguars, Eagles, I mean, they weren't the better team in either of those 3 games. That's a fact.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.